Hi guys, thanks so much for tuning in for this video. In this video, I'm going to be working through two of the kits that were released on June 14th, 2025 in my shop, daniellewicksjewelry.com. And these two kits are the Periwinkle Trio and the Sage and Citrus Trio. And each of those kits has a featured pattern, but in this video today, I'm going to show you a couple options that you can expand and change it up to make the pattern a little different. And I'm also going to add a little extra piece to the end of this video. I want to show you, I had another kit recently that sold out, but a lot of you guys have this kit and you've asked questions about starting and finishing it. So I'm going to share in this video what's different between the two kits that I'm featuring and the one that I released a couple of weeks back. They're basically the same thing as far as the stitch and the width of the band. Identical, and in fact, their patterns are interchangeable. The only difference is the finishing. And so, as you can see, this is a three-pronged clasp, and I wasn't able to secure more of those. And so the reason the current kits have the two-pronged one is just because those are the ones I could get really quickly in time for my kit release. And so they're actually, I find them to be actually kind of better suited. I like them a little more. I like this look. Feels a little more streamlined for the size of the band. That said, this is cute too. So really you can't go wrong. They're both great. The one good thing about the new smaller one is that the pattern can seamlessly fit, which is on this one I kind of had expanded out a little bit, but definitely just, they're both really wonderful options. And they're both workable in the same way. So I'm going to show you two options here. I'm going to show starting on the finding, which is where you actually use the finding to start your stitch. I'm also going to show you the method that is highlighted in this kit's PDF, which is starting with the 2-needle method. And I have not actually demoed that before. It's in all of the instructions, but a demo I figure wouldn't hurt. So you can choose which one is your favorite way of starting. And if you have some of the other kits from my GemDuo release collection, these methods for starting it are going to be useful for those kits too. I'll have videos for those as well, but if you're looking for a way to jump ahead, those are ones I'm actively working on currently. And I also have, if you haven't seen it, both of the wideband cuffs are currently released on my YouTube channel with PDF in the website on the store. Okay, so what I want to show you really quick before I dive in, of course, these patterns will be in the downloadable PDF. This is the Polychrome Mixed Berry, also a free downloadable PDF. Kit is sold out. I do apologize. I will try to restock it, but all three of these really are going to be kind of the same thing, right? Just different pattern. So one thing you could do with the current kits that I'm going to be featuring, the Sage and Citrus, or this one. This is the, I keep forgetting. I want to call it Montana Blue because to me that looks Montana Blue, but it's actually a Periwinkle Mixed Berry. Or sorry, let me get you the number because my brain is just all over the place today. It's Periwinkle Backlit. There we go. So that was what I named the kit after because that seems to be like the main color there. I want to show you this. This is the reverse of this one and could be done with the Sage and Citrus kit. So what you see here is that I've reversed the center position on this one was the solid. And then I used the duet with the purple sides facing. And then I used the Pearl Shine White as its border. In this case, the Pearl Shine White is the center color. The duets are white side facing for the center. And then it enables me to use the dark sides as the edges. Bonus there is that I'm using a dark thread for this demo. So you can actually hide it a little better, a little easier. If you're working with a dark thread, that's a way to go. So that's another pattern option that you can do if this one doesn't appeal. So you can try one of these, or of course you can make your own pattern because this is so easy. I'm going to show you first how to start on the finding. All right, so I have all the beads ready up here, just kind of off camera. And I've got this pattern. You'll have a printed pattern to reference. I've just got mine laying here just so you have something to see that's not a piece of paper. You can start with a stop bead. So any random bead you have in just like a dish next to your work area, leave a tail long enough to reinforce our connection with the clasp. So I would say at least 10 inches. I think on some of the instructions I was saying as much as 20, but that was a wider design. This one you could probably do 10 inches. It would be plenty for doing the reinforcing that you'll need to do for the clasp here. So I'm going to bring this up here a little better so it's nice in the center. And I'm going to show the one swoop way to kind of bring these on. So you have this bead, and then you go through the clasp and bring on the next bead, and then add the last one there. And also I wanted to recommend, oh, sorry, this one's flipped. Forgive me. I wanted to recommend taking a look at thread colors. So I went ahead and am using a smoke because I want you to be able to see it. And again, this is 6-pound Fireline. That'll be in the instructions, but I'm not sure if I mentioned it here. This is 6-pound Fireline. If you want to use crystal, you might prefer it. Looking at this one, you could get away with either because the color is forgiving for both smoke and crystal. I use crystal here. On this one, if you're going to put the white on the edge, crystal recommended. So yeah, all of those things are, going to work regardless of what color you choose, but the thread does show just a tiny, tiny bit on the side, and you're going to see that here where I'm making this turn to go through the second hole on that bead. So this is just getting us started. And now I'm going to pick up the next parts of my diamond, right, which are going to be pearl shine white. And again, dome side up when you're working with these. And you'll want to kind of just line them up to know you're going through the hole that makes sense for how you want it to suspend. So most of the time when you're adding in between the up beads, you're going to be going through the left side hole of those beads. If you lay them dome side up, you're going to be picking them up from the left side. And so we've got this beautifulness happening here. And the next thing you're going to want to do, go ahead and tighten that up. You could tighten your stop bead if you want. We're going to need a fire polish bead. Okay, that's going to be this edge right here. And then we're going to need another duet. And I'm going to string this one going this way so that it lines up like that. And there you go. Starting to look like what we're going for. Here's the next bead. Bring that on. And there you go. So here we're going to do our first odd count turn. So what you want to do is pick up a bead and bring that over like that. Make sure you've got it the way you want it. I'd like it to face that way. So just getting that figured out. So string that in that direction and then pick up another fire polish. And then I always just do one extra little check. I bring it down and look at it, make sure everything's where I want it, because the odd count turns are kind of hard to pull out after you've done them. You do have to take the needle off usually. So here's the odd count turn. We're going to go through the right side hole of the duet in the first row. Then we're going to go through the left side hole of the pearl shine white that is in the second row. And that's going to complete locking on this set of beads we just added. You just need to get where you need to be now. So turn and go through the right side hole of that same pearl shine white in row 2, and then continue through the left side hole of the duet you added last in row 3. So right here, and tighten that up. And then head down through the right side hole of the duet in row 3. So now we're going to switch the pattern, and we're going to build this part of the pattern. So these little flower shapes, we're going to start needing to work with the solid color. So we'll string through the left side hole, grab one of these, and then head through the open hole of the GemDuo from row 3. There we go. They're flipping a little bit on me. One more time, I'm going to grab another one of those, string that, and we'll head through here, pick up a fire polish, thinking out loud here, I'm going to grab one of these and one of these. Yeah, this is going to be nice for me with my smoke colored thread. And again, that's Fireline Smoke 6-pound. Here's my center bead. Okay. And then picking those up in that order, right? Actually, that's what I always test. We're going to be picking it up in that order because you want the edge to have the dark green side toward the outside. There's the turn, odd count turn right there. And here's this turn through. There you go. So thread's a lot easier to hide on that color. I'm going to zip through so you can get a complete view of the pattern to where it repeats. And I've got a trained eye now for knowing which way to pick them up, but if you're still new, it does help to lay them on the mat and just take a look at them first to make sure you're picking them up in the right direction. And then taking a quick look at it when it's on the mat like that, saying, okay, yeah, I got that lined up the way I wanted. Fire polish. And there we go. So now we're back to adding the first pearl shine white. That will become the next diamond in our pattern. And then we'll add the next duet. Fire polish bead. And here's that odd count turn again. There we are. It comes out really, really pretty. So carry on like this, creating your pattern. Adding each of those beads in the order you want them. And what I'm going to do to start for the alternate start method is I'm going to put a needle on both ends. So here's one end of my thread, other end of my thread. And don't worry, it's only a 2-needle method just to start. And then you switch to working single needle. And the cool thing about this is it saves you adding thread. So I'm just going to show you this method only because if it's what you like to do, it's growing on me to start on the finding, to be honest. I feel like that's easier. But the cool thing about this is this gives you the ability to start from the midpoint, which means you're not pulling tons of thread through in those first few rows. So you're less likely to get tangles. So each has its appeal. The only other thing I would mention is if you are going to work from the midpoint, then you're going to want to work with a pattern that kind of repeats a little more easy and doesn't have a color flow, because it's a little hard to guess which color to start. If, for example, you're working on one of the ionic rainbows that we were doing for the last cuff, midpoint start on that a little tougher because you're going to have to guess your length, know your length in advance, versus being able to try it on as you go. So just little things to think about as you're going. But here's a tool for your toolbox for another way to start, especially if you're working without a finding, just for example. So odd count peyote with GemDuo. Here we go. So I'm going to work a pattern. Let's just, for simplicity, let's just work this one. And so I'm going to string on one of these first. Bring each needle through the opposite holes, okay? And I'm really bad at 2-needle methods, so you'll see me fumble a little bit, but the gist of it is you just want to bring that bead to the midpoint of the thread that you're working. Pull the working and tail threads apart. And on each of these needles, you're going to want to pick up the next beads in your pattern. And so the best way to figure that out is just kind of lay them in order so they match the pattern you are creating. Just like we were doing earlier with the puzzling, trying to figure out our puzzle. When you're designing patterns, is another way you could do that. And then you want to bring on In the case of the one on the right, you're going to be stringing through the left side hole. And in the case of the one on the left, you'll be stringing that through the right side hole. So you'll have your beads coming on just like that. A little wonky so far, but still you get the idea. Next thing you'll want to do is bring on the center color. So we'll bring the needle through one side. Over here, we'll bring the needle through the other side. And then pull working and tail threads apart again. And you'll get this little pop. So super easy, and you've done half your pattern. Next part, we're just going to string on 2 more beads. Again, really the easiest way to do this is just to go ahead and arrange it. Take a look, seeing, hey, I want these 2 to go on like that. And then you just bring, again, left side hole for the one that's going on the right. And the right side hole for the one you're stringing on the left. And then in one swoop, just go ahead and bring on that last bead. You're stringing on right and left side holes. Just bring that all down. Pull those threads apart. And now you've got a 2 needle start. And if you're noticing what I'm noticing, I put those on backwards. Sometimes I don't see it in the moment, but it's an easy fix. And I think I'm going to do them one by one. So what I should have done here was string it from the dark side first. So I have my true stripe down the center. And apologies. Oh, I did it the wrong way again. So I was going to edit this out. I'm debating in my head right now. Oh, should I edit this? I think I'm not going to. I want you guys to see the process. Because there's really nothing special about the patterns that I've created. They're all just very random ideas from my own head. And your ability to create your own patterns is right there with you. So you can see that I'm just kind of fumbling around coming up with it. There we go. All right. And you'll know you got it. And see, I'm going for a stripe down the middle. So let me bring the other one back. You can see what I'm doing. I'm going for that. So I want to start with a pattern like that. So let's do the next steps of creating additional rows from here. And the good news is from here on out, it's 1 needle to work each side. So I'm just actually going to set this other one aside because I pulled that one off by accident. So with one side, you'd be going straight to the clasp, and with the other side, you'll be creating more rows. If you started at the midpoint, you just create rows from each direction. So versatile. We are going to need to get fire polish beads at this point. Let me get those going. There we go. I always just take them off the strand and, just dump them out. Have them ready. Okay, so we'll pick up 1 fire polish bead. And then you're going to want to pick up the next bead that starts the next row. So for me, that's going to be one of these. Go through that bead. And the right side, in this case, hole of the next bead. And so it'll start like that. And you need your next bead, which for me is going to be that pearl shine white. Pick up the bead and go through the next one. Last but not least, we're going to pick up the green side. Oh, no. I got so used to doing that other pattern where the center color was the main. We're going to pick up the white side of that bead. And so there you go. So far we've got that row built, but we got to get the fire polish on there. And then we need to make an odd count turn. So we'll pick up the fire polish bead, go through these 2, and you'll recognize everything I'm doing now is the same as we did on the other. And I'm just going to put everything down and pull it all tightly. There we go. So like that, and then just bring that needle through the opposite hole of that same GemDuo. Continue through the hole of the next one So you'll be going right side, left side holes and tighten. So there's that odd count turn complete. Stepping up here to start the next row. So you carry on like that. And I'm going to go ahead and show you finishing now. So finishing on one of these designs is very, very easy, especially with these clasps. These are really nice clasps. The one thing you want to pay attention to is the position. You want to go ahead and, if you've got one side with the silver showing, position the other one shiny side. And that's just kind of the greatest way to visualize it. It's literally this easy. Also, you want to end on a row where you're just about to make the step up after an odd count turn. So in this case, I've just made an odd count turn, but I haven't done the step up yet. Conversely, on this one, I just made an odd count turn, but I did the step up. If you've already done the step up, go ahead and back up that step up. So just back that out, because it's a lot easier to put the finding on in one swoop. So you're just going to bring this needle straight through. So let me show you. We'll bring this one over, put it right in the right spot, and then I'm going to head through the right side hole, and then I'm going to just carry on through the finding. Just kind of hold everything in place as you're going through, and don't give up because it will work out. There we go. And the final one. So you should be able to get through all of those just in one swoop there. We need to reinforce it. So go ahead and do another step down or step up by going through the open other side hole of that GemDuo. And then notice I'm working on the back side of the piece to get through these next beads. I'm just going through the row. You'll have a much easier time working from the reverse side. There it is. Okay, now I'm where I want to be. One more trip through it. Just make a whole swoop through, just like that. From here, you just want to weave in. Weaving in is a kind of like, you go wherever you want, basically, with a needle. I like to do one of these little turns like this, similar to what I showed when we were doing the rainbow, if you caught that one. Very similar. See, I'm just kind of going up and around and through. So just like that. And you can even make another turn through the fire polish. Make a turn down through here. So just like that. And I'm going to trim it right after this spot right here. There we go. If you have any of these little spots sticking up here, like little tiny bits of thread, just gently try not to burn the other thread, but there we go. All right. And then what you would want to do on the starting side. So if you started on the finding, you likely have this going on. If you didn't start on the finding and you started from the midpoint, you'll find yourself exactly where we were here, to just go ahead and add the finding the same way with that other side. On this side, and I'm going to do one thing really quick before I secure this end. I'm going to test it. Can't hurt to test it, right? Just make sure. It's happened to me where I put it on the wrong way before. It's just if you're moving quickly, So make sure it's still where it's supposed to be. Take off your stop bead. Go ahead and put a needle on that. And you're going to go and weave through this and around, and then weave in your thread. And that's all there is to it. All right, so I want to take just a second here at the end of the video to help out some folks who've asked me about my other kit. And again, I apologize, guys. I don't have these 3-prong ones in stock anymore. I do wish I did. We'll try to get more. I know they have them coming in other finishes too. But I'll show you how it works with the 3, because keep in mind, it is the same stitch, right? See, these guys are identical as far as the pattern and the number of beads per, columns. So they're the same width is what I mean. So the difference between putting on that clasp and one of these ones with the 3 prongs is almost the same, but let me just show you really quick. So from where we are here, notice that I haven't done the one, so there's 2 different kinds of rows. When we've been working these patterns, we've been doing the row with the odd count turn, and that's the row we ended on when we were putting on the 2 prong. So we had just made the odd count turn, and we added the clasp after doing a step up, right? So this actually becomes the row after the odd count turn, which is the row with just 2 beads in it, right? 2 prongs, 2 beads. In the case of this one, this is 3 beads, so we're adding it on one of the rows that would essentially have been the odd count turn row, right? So you want to end with 2, and this is all in the PDF for that kit, but you're going to end with 2, right? Is I made sure to end with 2 of the colorful ones. So let me show you. Let's get to that spot. I'm going to need to put on an odd count row, and forgive me, I forgot a bead there. So I'll just pull that out. Okay, put on an odd count row. So this is the start. This is the center bead. We'll bring that on. And then let's bring on another of the solid color, a fire polish bead. Just a beautiful turn here. Oh, wow. It's got through all those beads. Okay. Finishing an odd count turn. Okay. Here's the step up from the odd count turn. And keep in mind, again, that's the spot where you put on one of these, right? But we're working with 3. All right. And so here I'm going to break with our pattern. And I'm going to pick up just a solid pearl shine white. And we'll go through the next bead. And then another pearl shine. Go through the next bead. So it's basically just bringing out that center color, see? And bringing it out into 2, which looks really neat. And then we'll pick up a fire polish bead. String that fire polish bead on. And we'll bring over the clasp. And if you're having any trouble with this, sometimes working from reverse. And I think the tricky part is just getting it all to stay put while you're moving the needle through. Everything tries to kind of wiggle on you. There we go. That's through 1. And there's through 2. Thought I had it. Sorry about that. I think definitely easier from the reverse side. I'll wiggle that around a little bit. So I'm definitely through the hole on one side. And then I'm just going to push this bead up. And wiggle that needle a little bit. And get that to go through. There we go. If you need to use your pliers a little bit and your other stitching might come a little loose while you're working on that, no problem. Just go ahead and pull that tightly. Pull in from this side right here. Making sure all that tightens back up. So definitely a little trickier, guys, with the 3-pronged one, which is another advantage of the 2-pronged version. I actually kind of prefer the 2-pronged ones. There we go. Here comes that fire polish I added. The second pass, so much easier than the first pass. It's just everything kind of wiggles a little bit. But there you go. There's that attachment. And don't give up because it does work. It just takes a minute, kind of like a little bit of maneuvering around. Also, sometimes I have better luck with a size 12 beading needle than with what I'm currently using is a size 10 beading needle. The 12 might maneuver a little easier. But that said, I think going forward, even though I like the look of those 3s, the 2 is just like a little easier. So I might maybe focus my featuring on that, just thinking out loud. So let's go ahead and go through those beads, and there you go. See? I'm going to reinforce it here with you together so you can see that whole process. So let's go through this way. All right. Go through one here. Let's go through the next 2. Got through there. All right. Up through the fire polish bead. And now one more trip through that finding. So much easier the second time to pass through those, but still might have to wiggle the needle a little. And no problem though, you'll get it. And it's okay to use the pliers. Don't press too hard. If it's not going, then take that second bead and push that second bead up. And don't bend your needle, but it'll work. You just have to kind of insist a little bit, see? And there you go. Oop. Sorry, that jumped on me there. Okay. And so from there, again, you're just going to go ahead and weave down through the fire polish, weave into your work, and trim. And so there's the process for doing that kind of clasp versus this kind. They both look really, really, really good. There's the 2. And there's the 3. All right, so that wraps up our beautiful trios and also the bonus of this older kit, if you're working that older kit. So these are all the same size, so they can work patterns interchangeably. Feel free to change up those colors. Earlier in the video, I was kind of musing on the idea of swapping green for white here, so you could have little green diamonds. But this is cool because they look like little clovers now that I look at it. I see clovers. I will do my very, very, very best to see if I can get more of the Pearl Shine White fire polish. If those come back, right now they're out of stock, so they're on my dream list. But I do love this colorway, so I'll try to get that back. And then of course here's that other colorway, which kind of mimics this one. And yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. So any questions, you all know how to find me. Drop a comment, drop a like if you don't mind. That helps out my channel. And I will see you for the next tutorial. And until then, happy beading, and thank you again